to compliment you because I think you're an outstanding politician. And on that note,
I'm going to stop you right there because it's not going to be negative, okay?
it's not going to be negative, but you're asking us to have your confidence, and this is right before an election. I understand why. But the fact of the matter is, actions speak louder than words. You were the one that introduced, and it was a big deal in the paper.
What's your name, sir?
Joe.
You're Joe Blue?
Right.
Okay, great.
You're
Nice
the
to
one
meet
that
you.
introduced the water park people. There's a big spread in the paper. You were taking them to city council. You took them to the board. You're the one that introduced it.
Yes.
The object was to sell off part of the golf course, sell off all the golf course, whatever the plan was. Now we're supposed to have this big trust affair, that things are different, that you have really high confidence level in this facility, whereas you wanted to sell it off a year ago.
No, that, you know what, here's the thing, Mr. Blue. That opportunity came to us, and I would do that again today. If somebody came and said, this is what's a multi-million-dollar project, this is what we want to do in Masson, you have to vet it. And what we found out very quickly was they didn't have the money. But you have to take those risks. You have to.
You have
the
to
former
vet
mayor
it.
took a risk in the arena, lost $1 million, but they took the risk. You have to take risk in my
You
position.
need to vet it before you try to rush it through legislation.
No, we had to, no, I'm sorry, Mr.
Those
Blue.
people had no business
I
plan, they
disagree
had
with you.
no money.
I disagree with you. They came and we had to see let them play their cards, and that's what we did. I would do it
What
again
$1 million
today.
did the city lose on the arena?
There is a grant.
If I'm not mistaken, the $1 million was the infrastructure for what the theater is and the rec center.
No, there's a grant. They lost it. Anything else about the legends? Yes, sir.
Matt Creamer, 2040 Augusta. After your PowerPoint, are we allowed to ask other questions concerning the golf course and the residents down here, Madam Mayor?
Sure.
And
As long as they're respectful, I'm
Yeah.
here at your disposal.
Okay. Well, I'm a citizen down here. I've lived here for 20 years, and I was appalled at the last park board meeting, which was last week that I spoke at, with the park board members. And Mr. Wolf, who's appointed by the school board, not by you, is that correct, Mr. Wolf?
I believe Mr. Wolf was, yes.
Yeah. Had stated that he was ashamed of city council and the administration of the city because they didn't care about the safety of the children in Massillon, and that they cared more about the golf course because of the cutting down of the trees. And I really think that he needs to be educated before he makes that statement against you as the city administrator and the lead of the council and the council, because I don't think any council member or yourself would deter anything with safety against kids. I think that they're uneducated and they make decisions because out of hate and spite, because other advisors in this city have spoken out against the golf course at that park and rec board. We should just sell everything and let it grow over. And I mentioned this last week, that we as citizens of Massillon deserve better representation, and legislature or city council or whomever should change how those appointments are made to the park and rec board, because those men are not in your favor or anybody's favor. They allotted $12,000 to a guy that night for a softball diamond on the west side or wherever it was, because he had deemed it unsafe. And I wanted to ask, well, did you even go out and look at it? And they said that the $50,000 allotted to them by city council to begin the cost of cutting, the reason that was because at 51, then you have to do all that outbidding with sealed bids. At least city council was trying to get the trees fixed in the parks. But yet, we don't care about children because of $65,000 to hire someone down here for full management. Living here for 20 years and hosting 15 years of golf tournaments and outings here, this is a fabulous piece of real estate. It's a multi-million-dollar piece of real estate that I think can make money for the city. even though you say, and people believe, and I'm part of that as well, hiring down the debt is going to be difficult. But it's like a mortgage. In 15 years from now, the city's going to own this thing. If it's managed correctly with the Band-Aid budget that these Park and Rec Board guys allow, because tee to green, this is as good as any course except Brookside and Stark County. Sand traps are horrible, and there's a reason why. Cart paths are deplorable. There's a reason why. Parking lots deplorable. There's a reason why. But tee to green. But I've heard too many horror stories the last couple years that they have a full-time chef down here to watch the hot dogs turn. They run out of hot dogs during an outing. They have to run over to Walmart to buy them. It needs more than to be micromanaged. You need these people with it here, hire them, get them in, because what can happen down here to our neighbors and to myself can happen to any neighbor. Whether 6th Ward wants to see this closed or not, because Mr. Wolf lives in the 6th Ward, and he wants to protect the parks on that side, and he's vehemently going out against a candidate that's running for 6th Ward that she had stated she wanted to close Wampler. The 30 parks we have, the state commissions have stated it's probably too many for the size of our city. And it's probably hard to sell those off. I understand that. But with the 3 vibrant neighborhoods that surround this particular real estate, a lot of property tax and income tax has come into the coffers of Massillon. And yes, you're correct. We want to protect our property values, but that's no different than the guy in the 6th Ward wanting to protect his property value next to a park. What makes me discouraged is that these men on this park board, how they're appointed. And I think a better way would be, how can we change how that appointment is made? Whether we have to, as the city council, as the mayor, change Ohio Revised Code and make those elected officials. Because then I think they would be more receptive, more polite, more gracious, instead of yelling back at people when we spoke out that we need the golf course to be. Because they're on record as saying they don't care. In fact, Mr. Hickey is on record, he has voted no on anything with the Legends names attached to it. It could have been, hey, the Legends got a new ordinance, they're going to give $1 million to the Park and Rec. He would vote, except closure for that. He would vote no on anything except closure. They don't have an open mind. They're not progressing the city. And the fact that we as citizens, we want to progress the city. And if you're willing to do this and say this and micromanage it and get this to where it's going to be, then that's progress. And I appreciate that. And I am one person who wants progress. It's time not to blame past administration for anything. It's time to move forward. What can we do in the future to help this city grow, to bring more people into the city, whether it's jobs or by coming to the golf course? And I think that's what we as homeowners down here want, and we would appreciate from the city administration, you as the head, all the way to city council.
I understand that completely.
Thank you very much. I don't mean to get long-winded, but
well, I just tell you though, you have to understand when people ask me, how did it get to this point? You have to go back to the past. You know, so it is appropriate to explain that. But you have to move forward. And we could have moved forward 18 months ago. But there were 2 people on council. One wasn't even on there at the time, just adamant that they wanted to write the mayor out and put council in. And as you can see, those papers that are going around, that's exactly what happened. Where you see council on all those lines, the mayor was there before, and they took it out, which created this huge debacle. And you know what, Mr. Blue, it's not a political stunt. You know, all I needed to hear was that I was in charge. I've been waiting to hear that I'm in charge. And as soon as we did that, I told Doug we were going to be hiring 2 people as managers here, and they were going to be able to run this golf course. And he did select 2 great people. Yes, sir.
Will those 2 people report to you or to Doug?
They'll report to Doug, but I'm going to be overseeing everything they do. And they'll be in constant contact with me. But there's great things. In fact, I've already called them today to say we need mulch and flowers out front. You know, if we're going to have a golf course, we need to look